Good morning from a very sunny Portlaoise. This morning, nice blue sky out here. We're just topping up this electric car, as most reviews tend to start electric cars by topping them up electrically. This is Lexus's, or Lexi, or whatever you call a plural of Lexus, first attempt at a full electric car. It's based on the UX, but it's not the same car. It actually has a bigger boot, a little bit more room in the back seat, and it's just a little bit different in most ways. So the UX is a hybrid version if you weren't paying attention to what's going on. The ICE engine has been removed, and it made this a 54 kilowatt hour battery car. They say a claimed range about 305 kilometers. I would say it's probably more like 250 to 300. It very much depends on how you use it, and I'm going to be ploughing up the motorway today to actually return the car, and it's been really good. And I'm going to explain to you why this is a real car company who are used to making very luxury cars, who have now made a very luxury electric car, and have managed to do it incredibly well. I mean, so well that I think it might even be very close to the top of what you can buy in electric cars today in Ireland.
The UX platform is a good one. There's a great chassis and the damping is second to none. The exterior design will be a challenge to some, but I like that sharp cuts and clean lines. It's a busy look, but it isn't as busy or as harsh as some of the Korean brands. There's a claimed range of 305 kilometers, but you load up the car or spend most of your time on the motorway and you'll lose it a lot. There's a decent boot for weeks of shopping, but they aren't fitting any bikes in there. It's even some shopping bike hooks.
So one thing that was really noted from my Instagram was the fact that this panel, this plastic bit right here, is grey, but this bit right here is black. And so when you look at the two of them, the contrast is kind of weird, right? It just doesn't make sense to have two. I wish that was black, or that was grey, or that's grey, or whatever. It matched up colours on the front. I know they're going for the drop shadow thing, the colour kind of weird. This just came up on Instagram, and it's just some, you know how people on Instagram are, very strange.
As the blurb says, it's optimised for urban driving. The UX300e's all-new BEV drivetrain features a high-output 150 kilowatt electric motor generator.
And then under the floor here with 54 kilowatt hour batteries, which is kind of occupying the space down low. What they've done is sort of raise your feet up a little bit so they put the batteries on the floor, but it's not that I notice it. The seating position is exceptional. And like Hyundai, who seem to be able to not get the batteries under the floor, they have to push the seats up all the time. Lexus seem to have managed to put it under the floor. Now the ranges are very different. The battery's bigger than most of the Hyundais, whereas the battery in this is 54 kilowatts, it's only 300 kilometers. It's complicated how to fit the batteries in. One big bugbear I do have. Here's the problem. So the problem is that Lexus has decided to go with another group of car manufacturers with CHAdeMO chargers, which is this kind of charger here. Now, everyone else, or most other car companies, or most at least European car companies, are going with what's called CCS, which is this plug, which has the two ends on it. So realistically, you only have to put one plug on the car. This is the thing. This car has two plugs, so there's CCS or CHAdeMO on this side, and on the far side is a Type 2 normal. Whereas if this was any other car company, you'd only have one plug that does two jobs. Just plug it in. Now you got two plugs on either side of the car. It's a problem. The main reason it's a problem is because if all of the European manufacturers decide to go with CCS and just leave it at that, which is a done deal at the moment, well, we're going to leave this sitting out where there's no new chargers built with CHAdeMO attachments, because CHAdeMO was really Nissan Leaf territory, as they were the first one in this segment. So if CHAdeMO goes away as a fast charger, where does that leave Lexus in Europe? The interior of a Lexus is second to none. I actually think this is one of my favourite interiors in most cars out today. Forgetting being electric, it's just a gorgeous interior. It really is sumptuous. It feels luxurious. It looks luxurious too, with that white leather. These are heated and cooled seats. Not only that, but they can do it on auto. So if you leave the auto buttons turned on, it'll decide how cold or warm the car is and how cold or warm the outside temperature is, and it'll turn on the heated seats just when you get in. Even if it's not plugged in, it doesn't really matter, it'll do it anyway. Pro tip, if you want to use the least amount of electricity on a long drive, the way to do it is heated seats. They consume less electricity than running the air conditioning does, so bear that in mind. Layout wise, lovely. Seating position, spot on. I'd never know I'm sitting on batteries here. They've managed to make the seats low enough here that I don't really feel the batteries underneath me. They've left a manual clock in here as well. They still have their touch screen pad thing here, which is, it's not brilliant, but it actually works pretty much better than some of the touch screens out there, which don't work at all. So it actually is pretty good. At least it's very reassuring where you're putting your stuff. This is genius. So it opens this way when I want to use it. It opens that way when the passenger wants to use it. How, like, that's witchcraft. That's what that is. It's witchcraft. Can't even see where it's. I don't know. They've done it somehow. It's brilliant. So Lexus has put most of the stuff you need into the dashboard. It doesn't have sat nav or anything built into it, but it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built in. It has a wireless charger. It also has a wired charger here if you want to do it. Now CarPlay only works when connected wired, so you got to plug it in to make that happen. You have two good decent cup holders here. You got little cubby holes in the door that aren't very big. You get a bottle into them. This size bottle is going to fit into the door pretty handy there. Like, it's very practical as well as being incredibly well put together. This is just so well put together, it's hard to explain. Manual buttons and controls everywhere, which I do like. Let's have a quick look at the back seat and then we'll head for a drive, right? So back seat is where it kind of lets itself down a little bit. It's quite tight in here. So that seat is set for me, and it's set properly. There's lots of trucks going on, so ignore the noise. But my feet are under the seat. Like, there isn't really any room back here. There's not much room between me and the back seat here at all. Now, I would sit here for a short urban journey, and in all of the media belonging to this, they say urban car. So they really do mean that this car is not necessarily that long haul load lugger. This is a small 5-door hatchback. There is heated seats in the back. There is USB ports in the back. There is an armrest in the back. It's got all the practical stuff covered for sure. If you want to do a family run, you want to go somewhere with the kids, you want to bring even adults would fit in here just on a short run, but the car itself is actually fine. I like it. I like it in all that respect. It also has flat floor straight through, really well put together, really easy to use, simple. Actually, there's zips on these as well, so you can take the covers off. Map holders only on that side, which is traditional. Driver reaches over and gets stuff. In terms of Japanese cars, they drive on the same side of the road as us, and so they're built for us. That's why they're so comfy. Let's go. Tesla charging. I always meet people at charge stations, I have to say. All times of the day and night. But yeah. Not comfortable. He has a frunk on his Tesla, which isn't on this. So what a frunk is a front trunk. That's where he's keeping his jacket and his charge card, because he's getting out of the front trunk. I don't have a front trunk. Why not, Lexus? Why don't you put the batteries or the motors under the floor? Just say. Tesla envy. Anyway, moving on. This is, we're going to drive it now for the crack, right? I have basically a full tank and it says 250 kilometers on the clock. But it's just like full, you know, as full as I can possibly make it at the moment. And it says that it hasn't got enough to do the 305 WLTP. But then, of course, it is what's called a guessometer. So it's only guessing as to how far I'm able to go. That will be the kind of key or trick behind this thing, is that it is actually just sort of guessing. It's not giving you the full range. It won't say it on the dashboard anyway. So as air conditioning goes, I have been using the air conditioning, but the other day I had to drive up to Mick's Garage and back, who I'm working with a little bit with Mick's Garage now on a few things. And I turned off the air conditioning to get the maximum range. Thought it was better that way. There's another Tesla coming in. Nah, 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 he's already charging. Nah, ha, ha, ha. Smug face. You have to do the old smug faces. I've already got my charge. I'm okay. I'm alright, Jack. You can get your charge all you want. Now, this car, Lexus say, is an urban car to tackle the urban environment, which is quite normal for them to say that. Because it is the UX, so it's the smaller car among the rest of them. It is a 5-door hatchback, It's not meant to be a great big car for driving up huge big roads at high speed, but I'm actually going to do that today because I'm going up to Dublin town, leaving Portlaoise here behind me. We're going to go down this little what I call a rat run, to go around by the edge of the town to get the schools done as well. What I do like in the Lexus is it I can't really explain this to the uneducated, I suppose. There is people out there who say electric cars all drive brilliantly. It's lovely. Just put your foot down and go. But in actual fact, the handling of electric cars doesn't tend to be very good. They feel gigantically heavy down low, and it upsets what feels like a driving experience a lot. Whereas this seems to manage to drive like, and you wouldn't really notice that it's electric. If I didn't tell you, sitting in here, that it's a full electric car, that wouldn't really compute in your head, because it just feels like an ordinary car to drive with an engine up there, and it feels a little bit heavier maybe, but that's it. Its whole thing is just it feels a little bit heavier. What I don't like, well, really, so when you're charging this car, there's no information on how, there's a thing called home mode that you can engage on it. But that really doesn't give you a lot of information about what the car is actually doing, or whether it's really how long more it's going to be charging, or the rate it's charging at. It doesn't say if it's 50 kilowatts or it's charging or whatever. Sorry, morning traffic now we're having here. Even though we're in a goddamn pandemic, still lots of morning traffic. Lots of people going to work, coming from work and all that sort of stuff, So little things like not 60 time isn't exactly dramatic. You don't want it to be either. It's an electric car. It's no need for it to be. You want it to be super efficient rather than super fast. One doesn't really matter about the other. Would I drive the kids to school in it? Yeah, I already have. They seem to like it. It feels so luxurious on the run. This does feel like a proper luxury vehicle to drive around in. Price tag? Well, it starts a little over 53 grand. That's including the grants that you get off it as well. You're also going to need a home charge point if you're buying into an electric car first. And I'm telling you, do not buy an electric car unless you have a home charge point. You're not doing yourself any favours. You're going to use the public network. Even just the other night, I decided to test out a little theory of mine as to whether it would work or not. The fast charger in Portlaoise does 150 kilowatts of charging. It has a CCS and a CHAdeMO attached. It has both. Now, you can't charge two cars at once from a fast charger. So, if there's only one charger and there's two people at it, only one of them gets charged. The other one gets an error message. And that's all that happens. That's all that comes up on the screen. Error message. So, information from the charge point is lacking. Information of whether the charge point's running or not. There is an app that I've downloaded recently called it'll come to me in a minute. I'll put it up on the bottom of the screen. A Better Route Planner or something it's called. And that's pretty good. There's also a thing called Plug Share if you want to download that. See, this is the problem. We're still feeding our way into this, into electric charges and charge points. And I'm sure you people out there who've been driving electric cars the last couple of years are going, oh, I know all about it. I'm thinking, no, fine. I can do this and that and the other. And yes, you're right. Lots of people can do it. But lots of people are getting into this for the very first time, and I'm getting messages from people saying, I've ordered such and such, I've ordered this, I've ordered something else, I'm getting this car, should I get a home charge point? And the answer is yes. Home charging is a game changer with electric cars. Price of petrol and diesel is going up, price of electricity is also going up, but if you want to charge on the street, it's going to be very expensive. And I would suggest to you that if you are charging at a fast charge point quite regularly, you are probably spending as much as you would on a diesel. It wouldn't be very far off it, because the range in each tank is much less for a full charge. But I have had a home charger now for a number of years, installed by Des Mulhare from Mulhare Electrical, and it's now, right now, it's an EV box one. I charge about 7.4 kilowatts at home, and I've never run into problems. My own electric car is running perfectly well and it's able to charge at home the whole time. I've never actually used a public charge point with my home charger. I've never needed to. I have my own charger here at home. It's fine. So these are the things you have to get yourself over with. Now, range wise, I drove to Dublin yesterday with almost full. I was about 95% I think full. Drove to Mick's Garage, which would be in Park West in Dublin from Portlaoise. Stayed there, kind of moved about a little bit there in the day. Very little driving, but then drove home again, and I came home last night with 10% battery, which is okay. That's fine. That works fine. It's okay to bring your battery down to a very low level. I'd suggest maybe, you know, doing it all the time, bringing it down to 0 point level. I don't know. It always seems to me that would do some sort of harm or other, but maybe not. Maybe these days you can just do whatever you want to a battery. It works all fine. You can see here in urban traffic, because it's an urban vehicle. I'm shuttling through it, no problem. It's very comfortable. It's an automatic. Don't have to think about gears. Just squirt and go. Power-wise, is actually pretty good. We're just cruising up to 120 kilometers an hour. There's 2 Gardaí cars out actually hitting the road there now. So we put on the active cruise control. Please pay attention, it says there. Put up to 120. Pull out onto the motorway. And we'll set our range to close and the lane keeping on. So I have lane trace assist is turned on, active cruise control is turned on, and you can just, the car will start taking a strain now for me. I have 238 kilometers left, by the way. So you see when someone brakes in front of me now, which that truck will be going slower than me, the car will keep me in lane, but will brake. So you can feel the car is already braking now. It's starting to slow down to match the speed of the truck. If I indicate, it won't change lane for me. If I indicate to pull out, the car will accelerate back up to speed again, back up to what I set, which is 120, and will overtake. But if I use active lane tracing, it stays too far to the left in the overtaking lane. Does Lexus. You need to move that so it's more towards the middle of the lane ever so slightly, or even slightly over to the right hand side of the lane, because this lane here is the overtaking lane, so I'm very close to anyone on the inside. It just feels a little bit threatening when it does it. Now, I have no problem driving 120 today because I know I'm dropping this car back and it's going to a charge point, so it'll already be there. So I'm not too worried about the keeping the range. But you can turn off the air conditioning, turn off the heated seats, turn off anything you can, but it really doesn't give you a lot of information on the screen about what you should and shouldn't do to save range. It just tells me that the air conditioning is turned on, but I should turn it off. That's it. So to sum up, really, this car is an exceptionally good car to drive. It really does feel like Lexus has put a huge amount of effort into making this feel like it's just a petrol powered car or just a hybrid. I don't feel the weight of batteries in the car. It just is done incredibly well. Super build quality, and I'm very happy with the car. I actually think it's worth the money that they're looking for it as well. It's one of the first electric cars I can actually say it's probably worth the money. It really is a sumptuous interior and done incredibly well. Thanks, Lexus. Happy with this one. So hit subscribe. Cheers. Thanks very much. We're trying to get to the the 100k mark, if at all possible, but going quite slowly. But that's okay. I'm patient. I'm very patient. Not about the numbers. It's about the viewer. It's you, dear viewer. We love you dearly. Please subscribe. Thanks. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the usual places to hang out. If you've got a DM, you want to ask a question or something, Instagram is probably the way to go. Much easier to manage the old DMs there. TikTok doesn't work with DMs at all. Forget about it. It's useless. You can also find me in various locations around the place on Tinternet. I'm working with various companies now at the moment, trying to put videos out for them as well, so that's going to go ahead, which is pretty good. But anyway, no matter what happens, hit the subscribe here. Look after yourselves, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side. There's an example of thing doing all kinds of crap on the lane. Oh yes, behind the scenes. Today I'm going filming with David O.C. from Dundee. We're going to film 2 cars. I have to pick up my Volkswagen. He's bringing another Volkswagen, and we're going to make a video out of 2 of them for Dundee. So it'll be on their YouTube channel. I'm hoping to go well. First time working with David. He's a nice guy though, really is. He's very good. I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be something that we do quite regularly, because I've been looking to do collaborations with other channels all along, and I've done a few. People have come to my channel, but the reverse never seems to happen. They want to be on my channel, but they don't ask me to go on their channel, which is kind of weird. But sure, anyway, it doesn't really matter. it's alright. There's a guy tailgating the shit out of that other guy. Will you relax, lads? Don't be tailgating them out of the way. You're not going to push somebody out of the way. They're going to get out of the way when they're ready to get out of the way. I find it amazing. Tailgating is a terrible, terrible offence. Terrible. It's threatening. It's like getting into someone's face, you know. It's like walking up and getting right into someone's face going, hey, get out of the way. That's exactly what you're doing essentially with tailgating. It's a threatening thing to do. And if you have anyone who's even of a mild nervous disposition, tailgating is lethal. Anyway, this forecast of bad weather hasn't happened. We're sitting here in the blazing sunshine today, which is quite nice. We're still on level 5 currently. The date right now is the 24th of March, so let's hope that today will go pretty well. I am going to work. I don't have a choice. I can't do anything with the car other than go to work. The car itself is actually pretty good. I've been really enjoying this car. I didn't expect to. Lexus can be a little bit black and white whether you like them or not, but this one is actually really good, and I've gotten so used to it so quickly that I'm hugely impressed by what the car does. In case you're still here, you're one of the generals of the behind the scenes here who send me regular emails to say, hello, you didn't do a behind the scenes in that last video, what's the story there? This is behind the scenes. It's actually quite a lonely little life, this YouTuber stuff, car journalist thing, because you film on your own. You're the only company I have, and currently you're represented by a big lens in the corner of the screen that's looking at me, and by this other little lens up here by my ear. You're the only company I have. Anyway, I'm going to get on with some phone calls that I need to make before I get any further to discuss what's going to happen today, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Anyway, look after yourself. See you later on. Don't let the door hit you in the arse on the way out.